Welcome to News Today. The headline news. Seriake Dickson said the term real time doesn't guarantee transparency in any election. The news info. On Tuesday, Senator Seriake Dickson and a member of the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters said the removal of the words or terms, quote, real time, end of quote, from the Electoral Act Amendment Bill does not weaken the provisions for electronic transmission of results or undermine electoral transparency in any way. Seriake said that the Senate's latest decision still makes the electronic transmission of results right from polling units to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) results. Viewing portal RF mandatory is a major breakthrough. Stated that it is a gradual process. Quote, I don't count the proceedings of today and the outcome as a loss for democracy, end of quote. Senator Dickson said the Senate, in its wisdom, had reviewed Clause 60, Subclause 3 of the bill after public outcry, then restore electronic transmission of results, and retained a proviso that allows manual collation should the network failure occurs. However, those who view the ritual of terms or the terms, quote, real time, end of quote, transmission create rooms for manipulation. The removal of terms. Those who view that the removal of terms, quote, real time, end of quote, transmission creates rooms for manipulation, especially from the polling unit before it goes to INEC office proper. Those who are opposed to that, to Serake's view about that, he has not seen anything wrong about it, but they see that removing it will bring a kind of problem, a kind of manipulation in the polling unit. That's what they are saying. Before it gets to the INEC collation center proper collation. Although Seriake Dickson said he was talking in his own personal capacity and not representing the Senate outside the hallowed chamber, stated that the core objective of protecting RF has been achieved. Quote, I am not here as spokesperson of the Senate. I am here to give my view as someone who has been deeply involved in all these processes as a ranking member of this committee and is someone who participated in the proceedings of today, end of quote. Seriake explained that for 2 years, several forums discussing on the electronic transmission had taken the front burner, involving engagements with INEC and other stakeholders. Quote, this has been going on for about 2 years or so on different workshops, conferences at the Senate Committee, joint committees, and also interactions with INEC, end of quote. Dickson further said he was not around due to personal loss when the Senate initially rejected compulsory electronic transmission. Quote, I was not there when the Senate took that decision earlier, about a week ago, as I was bereaved. Today was the very first day I went to sit in the Senate because of the importance of the matter, end of quote. Dickson said, described the Senate earlier decision as, quote, unfortunate, end of quote, especially after INEC had assured lawmakers its capacity to transmit results electronically. On the misunderstanding terms, quote, real time, end of quote, Seriake said, had this to say, quote, what is the meaning of real time? Question. We are not voting electronically in Nigeria, end of quote. And so, the word real time in this context is actually superfluous. It doesn't on its own give you a transparent election, end of quote. He affirmed that transparency lies in securing polling unit results. Quote, the primary evidence of who won an election is the ACBA, INEC compels presiding officers to transmit the results to IRF. That is good enough for us, end of quote. Although, as for the network failure, proviso, Dickson explained, he expressed reservations and said, parliamentary compromise was unavoided. Quote, I don't agree with the proviso that has been included, but Parliament works on the basis of majority, end of quote. On concluding, Dickson said, electoral reforms must be gradual. Therefore, the law still mandates electronic transmission, and as, quote, the general rule is that every presiding officer shall transmit the result electronically. Sally Emmanuel, graduating from my channel. Thank you.